Hello, you're watching TVP World Talks. I'm Jan Ślewiński. Poland has seen a boom in concert and festival attendance, with nearly 70% of Poles going to a live music event this year. At the same time, more and more international visitors are coming to Poland for concerts drawn by lower ticket prices compared to Western Europe. What does this trend say about Poland's place on the European cultural map? And how can the country use music tourism, from Taylor Swift to Iron Maiden, to strengthen its global image and economy? Joining us now is Karolina Shapland, culture editor at TVP World. Hello, Karolina. Good to have you here with us.
Well, delighted to be here with you.
All right, so let's begin with a very, general kind of assessment. Like, what were the most important music events that we're talking about here in Poland? There was quite a few of them, and apparently pretty much for all types of musical tastes there, right?
Well, it was a wonderful summer this year, starting off with Warsaw Orange Festival. And that was the beginning of the festival season. I really want to hone in on this one because it actually gave the international and the Polish audience a bit of a preview of what is in, what is not in rock and pop music. And the ticket prices were astounding. You know, the two-day festival in the heart of Warsaw was about $160 for 4 days, and you got the stars such as Chappell Rowan, big name, the upcoming really high quality acts like Michael Kiwanuka. So that was just the start. And then we went through this season like a storm here in Poland. So we had the open air festival up at the north of Poland. Again, you got, for a really low price, a fantastic lineup of 3-day events. For you, I guess you would enjoy Linkin Park, the indie rockers Muse, but there was also Doechii, some good quality Polish upcoming rap artists such as Bambi. Again, really for the price to the quality ratio, there is nothing like this in Europe, really.
Do you think the price point can be attractive enough for people to come to Poland instead of to comparable events in other countries? Well, does it depend also on the genre?
Well, absolutely, because if you think about festivals such as Glastonbury, and you're talking about...
major controversies there this year as well.
Of course, but if you think about this, the price alone, and then you think the cost of camping, the cost of food, and if you look at open air, you're talking half the price, a quarter of a price here in Poland, and the stars are pretty much the same. But let's not forget that Poland also offers Europe's biggest free festival, and that's our version of Woodstock, aka the Poland Rockin' Festival. And this year we had almost 1 million visitors to that festival. So
that's massive, isn't it?
That is absolutely massive, and that the stars are very different because the genre is more of a punk rock, metal, industrial metal. But these are big names, and you don't have to travel to New York. You can come to Czeplinek for nothing.
No, absolutely. I'm asking about genres, though, because you also had situations whereby countries like Germany, they have a massive metal scene. Like, from my experience, they have so many festivals. We have, obviously, we have the Mystic Festival, but it's like a bit hit and miss for some fans, because you get some bands coming to Germany to several venues when touring Europe, but they only come to one venue in Poland, or they even skip Poland completely, unfortunately. It's still the case, so it's not always like the lineups are the same. Sometimes they do differ. What do you think can be done to increase the attractiveness of Poland to those artists who might still not be convinced?
Well, I think, every genre's got its own rules, and when artists visit Germany, they kind of assume they don't have to come to Poland because metalheads do travel. So if they visit Czech Republic, they think, well, let's skip Poland. But
that's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate.
Yes. At least one band.
Yes, I know.
This year alone.
But when it comes to different, if we're talking about festivals, pop music is very well represented in Poland, and the price comparison is really favorable. But let's not forget about classical music, and that's something that's very close to my heart. You can get an amazing lineup for festivals such as Chopin and his Europe, that's going to start in a couple of weeks from now, or something really boutique like Warsaw Royal Opera. You know, we're talking about tiny chocolate-like box opera house in the heart of Łazienki Park, and you can attend to, you know, 5 good quality operas for a fraction of the price of what you would pay in La Scala, for instance. So La Scala tickets in Milan would, you know, take you back 500 euros.
But you'd better grab your tickets quick, because this is a small venue, isn't it?
It is a small venue, but...
It's actually a surviving venue from back in the 18th century?
18th century. So it's
hardly changed, despite the war, despite everything.
Well, that's a topic for a different conversation, but it is a, you know, one of Warsaw's unique selling point. But if we move to a bigger venue, such as the National Opera, Teatr Wielki, again, we're talking about top quality performers such as Beczała, who perform in New York. And you can see these artists in really lavishly staged operas for 200 zlotys. And in New York, what we're talking about, again, $300 at very least. So, yeah, Poland offers a lot for every music genre when it comes to both festivals and one-off concerts.
What would you say also, you know, other advantages? We just actually spoke briefly about a report which indicates that Poland's cities are among the safest in Europe. So the overall tourist experience also would be enhanced by the fact that one doesn't need to worry too much about basically, you know, coming back from a venue at night, for example, not an issue, right?
Absolutely. And I had friends of mine coming to big concerts such as Taylor Swift, or, you know, some French pop stars such as Zaz, asking me, oh, you know, which part of Warsaw is unsafe because I'm coming back to my Airbnb. And I had to really think long and hard about, you know, Warsaw is a very, very safe place to be. The same with festivals. You know, the people I talk to, both, you know, on camera and privately, were just saying what an amazingly tolerant spaces these festivals are. Both for, you know, certain festival-like behavior, which we won't mention on camera this morning, but also for the openness and tolerance. When you have stars like, you know, Chapel Roan, which are the, you know, headers of a LGBTQ movement, you know, they come to Poland maybe slightly apprehensive, and then they look at the atmosphere, they look at the openness of the Polish public, and I'm sure they think this is a country we want to come back to.
So that's really fascinating. We've also had one event I would just like to mention briefly, with slight controversy, not quite as much as we've had with Glastonbury, obviously. The Max Korsz performance at the National Stadium. Now that shows that Poland also has a very vibrant scene of artists who are not really well known by Poles, but are very well known by members of the Ukrainian and Belarusian diaspora. What would you say about that? Do you think that this phenomenon is also likely to grow?
It is, and, you know, unfortunately, I see a slightly worrying trend where there is some sort of a ghettoization of Ukrainian and Belarusian culture. However, a lot of Polish institutions are trying to counteract that. So there is a whole idea of having concerts, theatre performances translated not just into English, which again is a brilliant thing for tourists, but into Ukrainian, just to try to join these cultures and not to create a almost parallel culture. On the other hand, there are stars which are, you know, big in Poland, such as Imagine Dragons, but which are absolutely iconic in Ukraine. So
they are very supportive too, right?
Very, very supportive.
Displayed the flag during the performance there.
They do every time, and they are one of the ambassadors of Ukraine 24. So it's really important for us also to realize that there is this thirst for culture in the Ukrainian and Belarusian diaspora. So, you know, it's something we need to learn and acknowledge.
And accommodate, right?
And accommodate, and not really to feel threatened. And of course, there is, you know, as with culture, so many angles. There is the whole northern eastern region of Poland, where these cultures were always intermingling. So we've got Swadennichos, Polish rappers who kind of are hip-hop artists who sing in what's called the local language, which is absolutely understood by Belarusians. So there is a lot of intermingling. And
very quickly, any highlights for the upcoming season?
Well, unfortunately, the rock and pop is all done, but I really would strongly advise to get your hand on the tickets for the new season at the National Opera in Warsaw. There will be some stunning performances, something that will interest you, an opera based on a Blade Runner.
That sounds interesting. Let me just add that when it comes to metal, it's not done as actually only just beginning for the fall and winter season. Plenty of announcements there too. You might know about. I do. Lorna Shore, Ice Nine Kills, plenty of big names. Parkway Drive as well. So great stuff there as well.
Okay, so for you metal, for me, Warsaw Ballet is European quality for a fraction of the price. Ballet and opera. I think I'll just need to take you to the opera with me.
I highly recommended that, stuff that for both people living here, but also for tourists coming in from abroad. So we can only say, please do actually visit and, enjoy the very broad cultural offering there. Karolina Shapland was our guest here on our program. Thank you very much for coming in and for sharing your experiences. And I'm You're watching TVP World. Stay with us for more latest news and updates.